We're live.
We're live.
Devin,
Another Thursday.
day 4, another Thursday.
Day 4,
Day
episode
4,
4.
Day 4 of the year. What are we?
Day 4, of course.
We're like maybe 1% into the year already.
There is, you know what? This actually just reminded me. There's an old Twitter account, X account I used to follow, and it was called "How Far Are We Through the Year?" You ever seen that account? And it's just a progress bar, and it tweets once in a while. And I used to love them because I'd be scrolling through my feed. I don't use Twitter anymore, but I'd be like doom scrolling through shit, and then I would just see like, we are 8% through the year, and I'd go, damn it, let's go work. Let's go put in some work.
Well, what's 1% of 3.65
days?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's a rough.
So yeah, we are.
Which
is already like
1% of the way through the year. I know.
It's like boom, you got 100 pennies, boom, there.
Just 99 more of those. I know, it's kind of crazy. That's a weird way to frame it. 3.65 days times 100. Like,
oh yeah,
it seems very insignificant. 3.65 days.
Right. Yeah, it just adds up.
Yeah, man.
Yep, adds up.
Anything you want to talk about off the top, or?
Yeah, I guess one of the first things for me, implementation, wise is, so it's as far as my like cardio endurance and all that goes.
Okay.
I am planning to run another half marathon in April.
Let's go.
I'm excited for. Yes, sir.
In Brooklyn or where?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And a couple cool things out of that. One is I'm actually going to have like enough time to prep for it. I think we talked about this maybe a little bit on the last episode, but last time I had like 6 weeks because it was just more just out of nowhere. Hey, let's go do it. And this time I'm going to have probably even longer than most marathon or like just half marathon preps go.
Is it May?
So it's April 28th.
Okay, so what, 4 months, like 16 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's like 116 days or whatever. Nice. I think some preps are like 12 weeks. I'm going to have, probably it's going to be more than that. I don't want to do public math, but anyways, going to have enough time to do well in that. And it's from, I don't know, I should know how to say his last name. Peter Attia.
Oh,
right.
It's his program.
He talks about like just cardiovascular health, or like I think cardio endurance, all that. I don't know what the correct frame is or whatever, but there's a couple really good videos he has on it, and I don't know anything much about it, but from my rough understanding, how I'm gonna like start moving forward with it is, I guess the vast majority of the elite endurance athletes, whatever it may be, cycling, running, swimming, whatever it may be, 80% of their time is like zone 2. And how I interpret that is like there's fancy, I don't know exactly how they even measure it, but it's like easy runs. Like my rule of thumb is, can I talk? Can I talk conversationally for a paragraph, or like can I read a page of a book? And 80% of my runs are that, and then 20% of my runs I'm still like working on that, but like closer to like VO2 max, what I thought of as like sprinting, like really short bursts. But I guess now that I'm learning more about it, there's other ways to do it, which is like 3 to 8 minutes of like whatever the top speed you could do for whatever you're doing, swimming, biking, running, whatever, the top speed that you could do for 3 to 8 minutes, and then you do a 1-to-1 rest ratio. So if you're doing like 4 minutes of whatever you could threshold run at that, right, then you would equally rest for 4 minutes at a like not even like a walking pace, maybe that, but I think like you're pretty much just standing there trying to like fully recover, and then you do that like 4 times, which is a new, I would, that's not a new thing to me, but it is in terms of like the science and like VO2 max and all that. So I'm going to be doing that moving forward.
That's dope. Yeah. Huberman has a similar type of thing in his protocol. It's his high intensity interval day or training day has a similar thing. It's like only 8 to 12 minutes of working out, but it is the same like you're on and then you're on, off, and then you're on and then you're off.
I saw that. I saw a clip of that.
Yeah. And he has the zone
like
2 as
Tabata.
well. Yes. And the zone 2 as well. I saw a video of Peter Attia. Finally, he had talked about zone 2 because everyone had been wondering what zone 2 was. And I have a Whoop, so like the Whoop tracks your heart zones. And so I would just treat it as like the second zone. But to me, that always felt like really easy. And when I watched Peter in the video, it seemed like it was more difficult than that. So that changed my perspective on what zone 2 even meant in the first place as well. I always thought it was much easier than what he was doing, or what it looked like he was doing in the video.
Explaining it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might actually know the video you're referring to. Yeah, I'm still figuring that out. I don't know, but if anything, from like listening to his stuff, and I still don't like know exactly how it works, but usually it's people are going too hard than they are, like they won't be in zone 2. They'll like actually be pushing too hard, or even like with zone 5. And again, I'm still learning. Like I don't know any of this stuff really, but like, yeah, with the VO2 max, it's like go to 3 to 8 minutes. Usually I would have been like, okay, go as hard as you can for like 30 seconds or whatever, but like that would be too fast, right? You can do the Tabata stuff. They brought up like 4 studies. I forget what the she's gone on Rogan. There's let me see here. There's a really good video on it. Sprinting, Peter Attia sprinting, and let's see here real quick. Isn't it like, yeah, Peter Attia's 80% zone 2, 20% VO2 max training protocol, and the optimal VO2 max interval length. It's Found My Fitness Clips. I forget her name. Is it Sarah? I forget. It's Found My Fitness Clips. It's really good. Yeah.
And is the goal then here like, or is the presumption that VO2 max is like directly related to like how does that help with your marathon training exactly?
Right.
The marathon running, half marathon running.
This is a fantastic question that I do not know how it works, but I did hear the analogy of, I guess, what cardiovascular health overall is kind of like, this is from Peter Attia, like a triangle where, and he goes over this, I think, in that video. But if you look up like VO2 max or like endurance, Peter Attia, like you'll find some clips. And it's like a triangle where I think the bottom of it is like your zone 2 and your base, right? So like the easy runs and all that. And then the top of the pyramid is your VO2 max. And what you really want ideally is like a really big, what would it be? I forget the triangles that are all all the lengths are the same.
Yeah,
right?
Equilateral.
Like what you don't want is like a really narrow base and then like a huge peak, or vice versa, like a really wide base and then like a low peak, right? So I was just like, right now I'm thinking in the limit, like people that are exceptional sprinters, but like would get really tired if they try to do a half marathon. Like that would be really struggling.
Gotcha.
For them. And then the other way, people that are like would do terribly in like a HIIT workout or like a threshold, like the 3 to 8 thing. So like you want both optimally, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how they feed into one another, but I think they do.
Yeah, I don't really know either. Like VO2 max has always just been like I kind of just know that as the metric almost for cardiovascular health. Like I have a friend who has, I don't know how well the Apple Watch tracks VO2 max, but it does. And I remember when I ran my marathon, like I had a friend who was just crushing me on every kilometer time and distance and everything. And his VO2 max was like exceptionally better than mine. And so not to attribute all that to it, but it definitely plays into it. I think it's just honestly I think it's got to have something to do with the way your body uses energy or like conserves energy or something like that. Cause that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah. I don't know the underlying mechanisms of like, to your point, what did you say? Yeah, like fuel sources or energy sources, like they're different things. Like when you sprint versus when you go steady state, like zone 2. The only like term that like comes to mind is like the aerobic versus anaerobic. Like you're not using anaerobic is like not using oxygen, aerobic's using oxygen. I don't even know like how that stuff works, but again, back to like the elite guys, like the elite endurance guys, they do mix that in there. Like they do the thresholds and the high intensity VO2 max stuff. So like it has to like help each other. Like it feeds into one another. Otherwise, you would just be doing all easy runs or like easy
like
things. I
marathon
guess
pace
what
runs.
right. I guess what the only thing that makes sense to me would be, I guess it would be like kind of like working out. Like you can't go. Well, maybe not. It is like different. That's where it is really different than like working out to me. Usually in working out, it's like, let's approach failure and all this stuff. And like running's almost like you're going at this pace, like the zone 2, and you're like, am I going fast enough? Like, is this good? But apparently it's, but I think now that I understand a little bit about muscles and like hypertrophy, if you're like the farmer strength, right? Like if you have like a highly repetitive construction job too, something that's like low intensity, but like you're just doing it all day, you can get gains that way. So I don't know. It just, it's another point to why the body is just, it's unreal. It never ends.
Yeah, it is insane. I was also wondering, because I know I was thinking about this after I saw that Peter Attia video. I think I literally saw it last week. I'm explaining zone 2. Like, how are you testing that? Like, are you out there reciting Moby Dick on your runs, or like, what do you? Like, he's like, yeah, just like make sure you could talk comfortable. I'm like, I'm by myself, Peter. Like,
yeah. If I have a friend, it's great because we'll talk and like I can get.
Oh, okay.
I know it. If not, I will literally think like sometimes, if my one buddy was here, could I be talking to him right now? I've probably gotten to more of like an intuitive sense where like I can be like, okay, this is just paying attention to my breath, and like usually I don't run with headphones, so like I'm paying attention to my heart rate, more specifically I guess my breath, if I had to guess. That's a good question. I don't know for sure. It's more of just like a guess,
a feel thing. I think that's how Peter does it too. I just always wondered, like, I appreciate the analogy he gave. I'm always just like, I just don't know.
That's not even his analogy.
I run alone.
You what? Oh, you run alone?
Yeah. Anyways, that's not his analogy. That's someone else's.
Yeah, I don't know where I heard that from. Maybe it was him. I do know that he uses some sort of device on his bike, so he actually does know what zone he's in. I think. I don't.
Well, that's the reason I brought up my Whoop earlier, is that when I was doing the Huberman, like I'm on Huberman's protocol, and when I would do zone 2, I'd do it on a bike because I found that was the best place to keep it consistent. I don't know. And it always felt like, that's just maybe way less than I thought. Maybe it's not that easy. It's just so much less than I thought.
This is what I mean. Yeah, it's like
I thought that going on a jog was zone 2. That's like zone 4. Like for me, most of the time, zone 4.
It depends on how fast you're jogging. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when I'm running, it might be at like I have to go to miles real quick, but it's like a 9, even like upwards to a 10-minute mile. I don't know if that makes sense to you right now.
Yeah.
We'll Google it real quick though.
I don't even know. This isn't. It's okay. This is not gonna. There's no chart, a running pace chart. Let's see. There we go. This has always been a disaster. Sorry, you said 7.
I know.
What'd you say?
No, like a 9-minute or like a 10-minute mile.
Minutes per. There we go. Okay. So, no, it doesn't help.
No.
Oh yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah. So that's 10 minutes per mile is 6 minutes per kilometer. And 9 minutes would be 5:37 per kilometer, which 9 minutes would be pretty pretty
chill,
pretty decent pace. I don't even know. I don't even track my speed. I don't even track my pace these days. You just run.
Yeah, if you ever do, I'm sure it's what I'm getting at. It's similar. It sounds like we do the same thing. It's like this is a lot slower than I thought it was. right? And
yes.
I don't know. I think it goes back to like what your body's using is energy, like however it works, like that bottom of the pyramid to like really work on it to build the base is like that zone 2 easy pace, right? Where you can just kind of just go. But yeah, I'm still learning about it. But yeah, it can seem like I'm not going that fast.
Yeah.
At all. But that's the counterintuitive part. I was just gonna say, I heard on Nick Bear's got some great videos on endurance training, and he had one with his coach on some of the tips that they had. And I'm paraphrasing, but his coach was like, it's not easy to go. Like the easy runs aren't necessarily easy. It's almost like hard to go slow. Do you know what I mean? It's like you gotta have like the discipline to be like, okay, like we have to go slow right now, and just kind of go at this pace where it's like, am I like really going? Am I doing anything? And that in itself can be kind of hard to just do that for like 30 minutes a day, every day, or an hour a day, whatever it is, 90 minutes, whatever. So
it's really boring the few times I've done it. And for me, it's like, is this even doing anything? Like I'm not sweating. And is this doing anything? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to do it for a pretty long period of time. Like they recommend, I think like Human recommends a minimum of 30. He says ideally 60. Like an hour of like not doing anything else but that. It's a long time. You get bored.
It can be. Yeah. That's the other thing though that I want to start paying more attention to that Nick mentioned is not increasing your weekly mileage by, I think, more than 10%. It's like wherever you start at, because like it just comes, it's like a volume thing, and it's just like getting acclimated in the gym. I would think, like you don't add like 20 pounds to whatever you're working out, whatever exercise, and with running, that like the weight is miles.
Are you following any sort of like half marathon guide or anything? I know there's a lot of those like running distance guides.
Yeah, so I looked into a couple different. I asked ChatGPT to be my running coach. I looked up like at least one article, and then I've been watching some of Nick's stuff. Nick's tips are like really good, and then I watched like Peter Attia's protocols and like what he does for cardiovascular health. Would that be or endurance? Right. So like those are my 3 or 4 points of knowledge, and then I'm just kind of like working through that, like how much time I would like to dedicate, and then working back from there. Really comes down to like I think how much time are you willing to allocate, and then breaking up 80% of that into the easy stuff, 20% into like the faster stuff, and then just kind of going from there. Like whatever, how much, however, if whether I'm doing like 5 hours or 10 hours, it's like 80% easy, 20%.
And what about weightlifting?
So that's going more on like, more like body weight, and like I have some dumbbells. That is more on, I think I heard this from Nick too, but like I'm putting that more on maintenance. Really want to do well in the half marathon. And then I heard it on Dickie Bush, this writer on Twitter. He's on YouTube now too. He just releases like yearly review, which I've watched a little bit about. And for whatever reason, he did like a bulk or whatever, like wanted to put on some muscle. For whatever reason, I heard it from him. He's like, I think he said like everybody that's young, like any guy that's like 20, I forget what he said, but like 25 to 30 or whatever, should go through like a 2-year bulking phase or something. And I don't know if I completely agree with that long, but either way, I'm like, I haven't tried to put on, even for like 6 months or a year, like put on that much muscle and like with that much conscious intention in, I don't know, at least a year or 2. But I want to do that. So what I'm getting at is I want to do the half marathon, and then after that, I think I might go into like put the endurance stuff more on autopilot, keep that at like wherever I'm at, maybe not improve much, and then like go into a build phase. So if that answers your question.
It does. And two things come off that. One, quickly, what is well for you in this race? Do you have a time?
Yeah, like 7:23 pace would be sweet. Why 7? Did you hear that? It said like 1 sec. I don't know what that was. 7:23, partly arbitrary. So I ran like an 8:25 pace last year, and then a minute off of that per mile would be cool. And 23, Michael Jordan. So I don't know, 7:23 seems like fast enough where like, and I've like pushed it. Like today, I did it for like just on my run. I sped up until I was at 7:23. I'm like, how fast is this? And I just slowed down. That seems like a good pace to like strive for.
Yeah, that's quick.
Yeah,
that's an hour 36. Well, 7:22 is an hour 36 and 38 minutes, which is a 3 hour and 13-minute marathon. So yeah, that's very quick. That's dope.
Yeah. If you get, it's sub 3. Sub 3 is like cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking.
Big time.
So I think I could hit that in a year. So like if we're having the same conversation next year, I'm like, I want to do another marathon prep. I think I could hit that. Maybe not for the full marathon. That would be like another conversation. But like the half marathon, I don't know. I think even if I do the build right here and then like put my endurance more on autopilot, but like still make obviously lower improvement, but like still continue to get better. Yeah, I just wonder, like, I don't know. I don't want to question that out.
Yeah.
So.
No, dude, it's possible. I mean, people have done it. Like, it's literally just, do you want to train, and are you willing to do it for long enough? Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like you could do it if you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You just got to do it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, just time. Yeah, it's a lot of time.
Man. Time and effort and dedication. I've heard this great quote. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention was the Dickie Bush thing. I'll get back to that in a sec. But a quote I heard one time that was great, and it was a bit corny, but it was some from marathon runners, and it was like, people think like, oh, you ran a marathon, you ran a half, like so hard. It's like race day, like that's not hard. Like you show up, you fucking pumped full of adrenaline, you run, it's easy. The hard part is like the months beforehand, where like not drinking and like try not to eat like shit. And you're going on like runs when it's cold and like no one's there and you're like by yourself. Like that's the hard part. And it's so true. Mm-hmm. Like their training for the marathon is the not the goal, but the thing that's cool. It's not really the race. When I crossed the finish line, for me at least, or like during the race, I was kind of just like, okay. But like the whole process of leading up to it and like going on 30-kilometer runs, like for training, it's like that's the part of the whole running experience that is the hard part. Anyways, not to
for sure. But you said it. I think so, yeah. The training is the goal, though, in a way.
The training is the goal.
That's the unique thing I think about like running or like working out is like the work is the goal. Like, of course, the race day, like, is a different thing in itself. But you're running, right? Like running is the goal, and you have to. I don't know. It's not separated from like a lot of people make in fitness. Like I want the look. I want to like weigh this thing, right? I want this outcome. I want to look this way in the mirror, and I think that's a little bit different than. Obviously, you have to do work to get that output, to get that goal, but if you make the work the goal, the run, like the outcome is very similar. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm like not articulating that correctly.
I didn't really get the full point, but I mean, I agree with the premise of that is like, yeah, you should make the work the goal, right?
Yeah, because it's the same thing. Like on race day, it's like I'm going to run like just faster, right? I'm going to run faster and longer, but I'm running. Like that's the goal is to run. And training, it's a different thing, but I'm running in it. Versus like people in the gym might be like, I want to look this way, and like they're focused on like a look and not like the work, right?
Right.
Where I think it just makes it a lot. That's why like Nick Barron, like make performance goals. If you have performance, it's depends on what it is, but like it's kind of hard to look bad and have certain performance metrics, especially like with running. It's just hard to be way out of shape and like run that fast. It's just and look bad.
Yeah. Well, I guess a lot of people don't associate. The reason I think maybe the weightlifting thing is so much more outcome based is because a lot of people don't associate running with a certain type of, for some reason,
aesthetic.
Like I know it's aesthetic, yeah, like or not an ideal aesthetic. If you ever see guys who like run a lot, like they're not exactly like, and I don't mean the Nick Bear types, but I mean like your stereotypical runners. You're like, oh God,
for sure,
like a string bean.
Yeah. If you look at a sprinter, on the other hand, those dudes,
short and jacked,
base.
It's
so good. Yeah, it depends on the type of runner.
Yeah, no, but on that Dickie Bush point, one thing, sorry, the bulk. I've also been interested in a potential bulk, but I'm also like, I don't really want to put on the fat. I don't really know. I'm conflicted, but regardless, I do think he has a good point about.
I think that's a.
So let's get back to that in a second. I do want to talk about that. I also been listening to a lot of All In podcasts. This is totally off, and I feel like they do that a lot, where they'll put a pin in someone. They'll be like, "Don't." We'll talk about that in a sec. Let's. Anyways, I think he has a good point, because I learned I took an exercise science course in university, and like I learned that essentially your bone mass and so your bone mass for sure, your bone density, but also how easily you can put on muscle. Essentially, it's just a graph, and it just peaks at 27, and then it's not that you can't increase your bone density. Actually, bone density is one of those ones. It's not that you can't put on muscle after 27. It's just so much harder. It just goes. But bone
that's
density,
the average, right? That's an average.
27 is an average. Yeah, it's not like a biological clock or something, but 27 on average, and maybe that's increasing as we get, as we live longer.
And this is Dickie Bush. Sorry to interrupt, but
sorry. The reason, I'm coming back to Dickie Bush, why I agree with this point is because I learned this in this class. The bone density one, though, is actually scary. And I remember hearing this is like, once again, that arbitrary 27 number, but sometime around there, it's not only that you no longer can, it's not that it's harder to increase your bone density past a certain age. It's once you cross that threshold, you no longer can increase your bone density. And so it's very important for young men to, before that point, essentially weight train and specifically lift heavy weights. This goddamn thumb popping up, and lift heavy weights, because that increases your bone density, like weight bearing exercise. And it's important for you to do that in your early years, because before that threshold, because after that point, whatever bone density you have, it just goes down from there. So you basically want to get that peak as high as possible, so that the decline isn't as you have a better end of life experience, essentially.
And there's no way to strengthen that after?
There's no way to build bone. Once again, it is with bone density. It's pretty much, from what I remember, legitimately you build it up to a peak, and then it just goes down as you age. Versus muscle, it's like you can build muscle past a certain age, but it's more difficult. Bone density, it's like, I'm almost positive. Fact check the internet, but bone density is one of those ones where you peak, and then you have to live with that amount of bone density slightly declining. So it's in your advantage to peak as high as possible before that age, when you're in your 20s, essentially. And why I'm getting back to this Dickie Bush point now is that I think it's really advantageous for guys in their 20s to try and put on a lot of muscle, because once again, that only gets more difficult. There's my whole point concluded.
Okay, full circle.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. Also with like my buddy texted me as far as like he's losing weight, and he like sometimes he struggles with losing weight, and he was like, I'm gaining muscle with still losing weight. And again, I don't know much, but like I'll bring this full circle, but like from my understanding, usually when you're losing fat, you're just retaining muscle. You're retaining muscle and strength. But like when people say, this is what it was. He's like, I'm getting stronger. Like my lifts are going up, so therefore I'm gaining muscle. And I want to say, from what I've listened to Andy Galpin, this is like my main guy on if I want to learn about muscles. strength and hypertrophy aren't necessarily the same thing. And I'm going to paraphrase, and I don't remember exactly how it went, but just because you're getting stronger doesn't mean your muscles are getting bigger. And I bring this up just because. Can you hear me? Okay, you just went out for a second. To your point on bone density, up until that point, does getting stronger? I'm sure both would help, but like, is strength training best to increase bone density, or is it hypertrophy, or is it like a mix of the two? I just wonder on that. I don't know.
It's strength. It's strength training. Yeah.
It's strength. Yeah,
it's like lifting heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those Which I don't really understand. I don't know why I think it's actually a hormone that's secreted from your bones. It's called osteocalcin, I believe. And I think that I'm pretty sure that's only stimulated when it's like really, really stressful.
Like strength?
Stress. Yeah, exactly. So the strength training to answer your question.
I don't know.
I could be wrong about the osteocalcin thing, but I do know for a fact, bone density is best built. I think there's obviously like some supplements or whatever, but yeah, strength training. Sorry.
Yeah. And to be clear, like, if you do hypertrophy training, progressive overload, you'll get stronger, right? But like with bigger muscles. But yeah, now I look at, I think this is from Andy too, strength is more of a skill than like you're training a specific movement pattern, getting stronger at it, getting really technical at it. Hypertrophy is kind of, I think he says like idiot proof. Like it's like 5 repetitions all the way up to 30. It's like do whatever you want. Like kind of not like whatever you want, but like you have way more you have way more options. Yeah, you have way more margin for it. Exactly.
Damn.
Yeah.
One thing I'll mention quick, then I want to get back to another thing. Do you know who Mike Israetel is? Dr. Mike Israetel?
No.
Oh, dude. So if you're really into like, he deep dives into sport physiology and working out and all those sorts of things. He's on YouTube,
I've seen this guy.
He's hilarious. So you'd love him first off. Cool. Anyways, check him out because you mentioned we'll listen to Andy Galpin a lot, and I know he's quite scientific. This he loves to kind of talk shop as well, and he knows his shit. Second off, you mentioned earlier that you can bulk without gaining fat, and I know I mentioned earlier that like you said generally. Okay, how about you just talk about that because I'm curious because that's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah, I bring this up because I recently heard on My First Million, Sam Parr was talking about this, where little changes can. I think he also did like a cut, but like he put on muscle as well. What I'm getting at is, and I want to be clear, I was even talking to my cousin about this, which I'm helping him lose weight. I'm really good when I think about it, my main source of competence is like fat loss and like keeping muscle versus gaining muscle, right? So I'm not even like I've put on muscle for sure, like over the 10 years I've been lifting, but I'm more competent like losing weight. Anyways, with gaining muscle, it just comes into how much you're in a surplus. I think what I've done wrong, I'll just speak to what I've done wrong. I go into way more, like I'll go into a 20 or 30% surplus, which might not sound a lot, but like I think from my understanding now, if I'm like when I do it, and I talked about it earlier today, I want to put on muscle, I probably won't go anything over like a 15% surplus. Probably keep it at like 10%. And that probably works out to like, dude, a tablespoon of peanut butter is like 200 calories. Like you can be in a surplus with like not a lot of food. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, including myself. I'll forget that. And when people say, I don't want to put on a lot of fat, it's because you're in too much of a surplus, right? Like you can be in a 10% surplus and do it for a year and like put on, I think, it depends on where you start at and how experienced you are, but you can put on muscle and not gain that much, quote, fat.
But you will.
Does that make sense?
You will gain fat. Like
yes, but less than you would less than I think people have it in their minds. Like when you say that, is it like what's in your head? Like, oh, I'm gonna look terrible.
No. I guess just like theoretically, it's not possible to, or like physiologically, it's not possible to put on 5 pounds of muscle while keeping the same body fat. Like that doesn't make sense to me, right? Because then every extra calorie would have to be muscle fiber. Like, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know how the exact science would work out. I'm almost thinking of this other creator where like, yeah, even if like say you put on like 1 pound of fat and you put on 2 pounds of muscle, your fat would go up. The total amount of fat that you would have would go up. I'm just working this out in my head right now. But your body fat percentage would go down, right?
Yeah. But you're right. It's directly proportional to your total weight. So that is a good point.
Right.
I've never even thought about that. Like, of course, if you're 200 pounds, you're going to and you're 15% body fat. If you're 100 pounds, you're 15% body fat. You're going to have twice the actual weight of body fat, but you're the same. Like, it's proportional to your weight. So that that does make sense. So yeah, it's not like you're not putting on fat. It's just staying proportional to your current
it could
weight or the increased weight or whatever. Yeah, I'm saying like if there is a world where you don't increase your body fat, but you bulk because it just increases, right?
I don't know. Like, yeah, is there a world where you don't put on any body fat when you bulk and it's just muscle? Is that what you're saying?
I don't mean body fat. I meant body fat percentage.
Yeah, there might be. I don't know exactly. Either way, I think it's like worth the short-term discomfort of like having a couple more pounds of fat if your intention is to gain muscle.
But is it that much? Is it from? I don't know if you've had experience with this. Is it that much more effective to bulk heavy and like?
What do you mean
muscle?
bulk heavy?
Is it easier to put on muscle when you're like in a huge calorie surplus or a larger calorie surplus?
I don't really know. I don't. Again, yeah, this is already out of my ballpark. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Sure. Anyways,
I think that ultimately I think the vast majority of people in the scientific community, I think most of them would agree if you're like trying to put on muscle that you want to be in a surplus. I think most people would agree. How much of a surplus? That's probably more up for discussion. But then, yeah, it's like, what is the marginal benefit of like the next calorie? Like, I don't think you're going to get that much muscle, that much. If you're like in a 30% surplus, you're probably not going to put on way more muscle than you would if you're in a 10% surplus.
Okay. That was my question.
Plus, plus you'll just put on fats. Yeah, I think even if you do, you'll like.
Yeah,
put on
I didn't know if the amount of muscle I didn't know if it was easier for muscle to be built with more fat surrounding it, or like something like I don't know. So
yeah, I don't know.
You would know the answer, but I was just curious if maybe you had experience with that. Cool.
Yeah.
Dope. So you're doing the half marathon. It's official. You signed up, or
I haven't signed up for it yet. No, but I'm
okay,
like,
so you're not. So you're fake. You're a phony. Cool. Lewis lies to everyone. Nice though. No, that'll be dope, man. That'll be dope. Are you getting a new pair of shoes?
Yeah. New as in like
new out of the box, not a new brand or
anything. Yeah. Probably.
Cool.
Probably.
Dope. Keeping it the same. Yeah. Keeping the sock knees, or what do you have again?
Yeah. Sock knee. Yeah.
Sock knees. Nice, man.
Yeah.
This is, I guess I have a topic if you wanted to move on at this point, but it's a small thing.
Let's do it.
Not really not a small thing. It's cool.
Right.
I think we were talking last week about copythat.com from Sam Parr.
Did you get it?
I bought it, and I'm on day 4.
Let's go.
And it's cool. It's cool. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, in the sense that like he pitches you like it's going to help you improve your sales, and I was thinking it was going to be a bunch of sales emails, but it's just writing. This is kind of a cloak for like I'm going to teach you how to write better, and as a result, you're going to be able to sell better. And it's cool. It's like a really simple, straightforward course, and it's actually motivating me to like want to make something like this. Like, if this product works, can I do this? I was thinking about doing it for YouTube. I was thinking about doing it specifically for YouTube intros. Like, if I do the same thing, do the copy work outside of this course on my own and find like 100 or 200 of the best YouTube videos and like figure out what works on the intros of those videos. And I don't really know how I would define best because obviously retention is important and I don't have that metric. I'm just wondering if it works over there, would it work over in this more specific niche, and how would that even look? But that's a future subject. I want to get through the course first, but yeah, bought the course.
Cool.
It was like 169 USD, whatever that is. Pretty cool. It's a cool course.
Nice. It's like 10 days.
10 emails. 10. Yeah. 10 like lessons over like two weeks. I don't think he does weekends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, man.
All right.
It's cool.
What, any other, I guess, progress on the new year? Like any other pursuits that you're going after?
Yeah, I don't really know, honestly. I've been trying to be pretty diligent with like tracking my habits. Like I always find I fall off midway or halfway, either with the tracking or I drop one or two or whatever. But I'm trying to be good. It's always the small stuff that catches up to me. Like I have a stretching goal, like a nightly stretching goal that like it's so easy to skip. It's like 10 minutes and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do it. I've implemented that Matthew Dix that we talked about last week, the story worthy book. And he does like story for life or homework for life. So I've been doing that, trying to implement that, really just kind of trying to keep stuff. And then I've been calendar blocking this week as well. I'm enjoying that for the most part. And I'm finding like, it's nice to know what to do with my time during the days versus kind of just like, what should I do? Like actually being like, okay, like I already have tomorrow planned out, so it's kind of nice being like, I'm going to wake up and then do that. And then like, it's a bit robotic, but there's something nice about that too. Yeah.
How far out do you plan it?
Well, I've actually baked in. So based on this habit sheet, I like a couple things I want to do is like, I want to do like an hour of copy, like Sam calls it copy hour. So like I do copy hour. So I do the assignment, but also like find other stuff for myself. I want to do like an hour of, like work on a YouTube video, like right off the bat. I plan in like whatever it might be, filming sessions, writing sessions, editing sessions. I plan in like gym time. If there's any other like side things I want to work on or whatever, plan that in. Like it's not like Rob Dyrdek style. It's not down to the minute. But it will give me like, if I have like 3 or 4 main things I want to do throughout the day, it's on the calendar. It's set in stone. And before we came on air, we were talking a bit about, for the podcast, like kind of putting things on the calendar, just like make like you have the time. It's like just put it on the calendar to make it kind of official. And I'm finding it helps. Like even if I don't follow through with it, my compliance is at least like 85, 90%. So it's higher than it normally would be if like I had nothing in place. Versus loosely kind of going to bed being like, versus my compliance percentage. The issue is like, yeah, maybe 50, maybe. Like there's always one thing I kind of want to get done throughout the day, but it's not so much having that one thing on the calendar. It's more because I'll always get that one thing done. It's more about seeing the other things and being like, okay, I only have an hour to do this thing. So I need to get it done within this hour. It's Parkinson's law, right? The work will fill its allotted time or whatever. So I am finding it helpful. Once again, it's been like 4 days so far. So, but I have now like daily, like every day at 8 to 9, it's like copy hour. And then like every day from 10 to 11, it's like something for YouTube, like scripting, thumbnails, editing, filming, posting, like always at that same time. So
yeah. That's what I was getting at. Like how far out in advance do you, schedule what you have to do? This reminds me.
The mornings are pretty concrete right now.
Okay, cool. So I was going to say like, it reminds me of something I read from Tim Ferriss. It was what you need to do more. Like whatever you got to do, you have to do 2 or 3 things that you need to do for the day and have them written out. I don't know what his deadline was, but like say like 5 p.m. the day before, which is just, I think it's just like so useful. Like whatever you got to do on Tuesday, you figure out what to do like by Monday at 5. Like, I got today's next plays, or like however you want to frame it, thought out. That way, like, you don't wake up and like go to your desk and you're like, what did I do? Right? Or it's like it's just thought out. So that's another thing I need to.
Are you a big planner, or what do you do?
I mean, I'll assign things to do for the day, but I'll do them like that morning. I think what will be more useful is like the Tim thing. Like, I think I heard it from him, but like assigning it the day before, or like you have, it sounds even better. Like, you plan out the whole week, right? But ultimately, like, you're doing it, I would say to me, what sounds most useful is like at least the night before, if not earlier.
Yeah, I think that's more practical, because like as much as I'd love to plan out what I'm doing on Friday, on Monday, and I wouldn't even love to plan that out, to be honest with you. There's just stuff that comes up. Like, you just have to now go to this place or whatever. Or like you stay a bit, like this morning I went to go pick up some coffee, and like I just stayed longer at the coffee shop than I expected. It was just like good coffee, just chilling. So like, not like whatever, like I got to be back. There's just like inherent flexibility. I think it's more of the act of just like committing to those activities at some point, the day before, the morning of, whatever, has a huge impact on them getting done. Versus like, I literally used to just wake up and be like, okay, I wouldn't even say to myself, I have things to do today. It was just kind of loosely in the back of my mind.
Right.
I should probably film. I got to get to the gym. I should get to the gym. Like, it doesn't even matter. It was like kind of just I was like,
it's like,
I can't even think of it.
It's out there somewhere.
But
yeah.
Out there somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
It's out there somewhere. Yeah, this is a great reminder to get my calendar more in sync and make a schedule that I like, that I want to follow more, keep track of my time more. It's ironic, at least to me, like managing your own time, but like, hey, you got, like, it's not like we are both at like, I guess, corporate jobs or wherever. It's like, hey, we're doing this from here to here, and then like this, we got this meeting, and it's like all this. It's like all self-managed right now, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, you got it. Which is it sounds
harder.
Like it would be, it's harder. It sounds like, oh, that would be easier. You can just, do it whenever you want to do it. But like, that's, I think, what's harder about it is that you have to make
it's harder to follow.
Like,
it's harder
to follow. That's what I mean. Like,
it's much more enjoyable than the alternative. I used to fucking hate meetings. Anyways.
Yeah. 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 I think there are parts of both. Like, there's problems with both. Like, both have their own, like, this is harder part. But, managing your time, especially when you have to do it yourself, it's important. It'll just, like, be 4:00, and then you'll be like, what? At least to me, I'm like, what the hell? Dude, I didn't.
It's the worst feeling.
I didn't even.
Especially if you didn't do anything that day. Yeah.
I did it today. I
still got a few more hours.
Yeah, I did it. I did it today, though. Like, Tim's whole, it's that one section in Tools of Titans where he's like, it's like tips for the neurotic, something about like productivity. And he didn't write about it, but like, I think that at least top 5 things I've gotten from him is making like a Pareto, I guess, list of like, what are the 20% of actions, activities, people, whatever, that are making the 80% of like negative emotions, and then like the flipped. What?
Sorry, I just got reminded of something. We'll bring it up in a sec.
All right. And then the other one is like, block out 2 hours of time, because you won't. And then like, for whatever it is,
block
whatever
out 2
you
hours
gotta
of
do.
Time and what? Do that, those 20% of things?
He didn't write it exactly like that for the Pareto thing. In that part of the book, he was just like, write out the 3 to 5 things that are like causing you the most trouble right now, or however he frames it, and then pick one of them, and then put 2 to 3 hours of time to just do that thing. Like, just do that thing.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I think.
And then the other things will be there tomorrow. That's where it's like, my brain will go, no, you have to like do all this. It's like, they'll be there tomorrow. Just do this one thing, 2 to 3 hours, make a little bit of progress, and then do the next thing. And guess what? It'll be there. So you want to get it all. I want to get it all done in one day, and it never works.
I think successful people are ruthless with their are ruthless at like weeding out what doesn't need to be done. Dude, I think about this. I always hear the top creators on YouTube. They're like, okay, come up with 50 video ideas. Okay, cool. Pick the 10 best. Okay, cool. Make them the best 10 videos you've ever heard of. All right, great. Pick one. Scrap the rest and come up with, that's your video this week, and then come up with the next 50 next week. It's like, what? But those are so good. Like, they're all so good. Yeah. It's like, nope. No. Like, pick that. And so I think, the thing that's important with the Tim thing is like, do that one thing. Because it's like, it's so easy to be like, all these other things. It's like, no.
Because even if the other things are important, I think just my ability to overestimate how much I can get done in a day. That's the biggest thing.
100%.
Maybe, I think that threshold for me can also increase, but like 2 hours of like mentally doing something, I just think of like Huberman, like one mental hard task and one physical hard task. It can be hard, like it takes a lot of juice up, I guess, whatever, calories or however it works. Like doing something for like 2 to 3 hours of like focused, intentional work. It can take a lot out of you. So, and then the other stuff will be there tomorrow.
I like that.
What were you laughing about?
You were just explaining Pareto, and I got a vivid flashback of a time we worked at a company together, and you were asking a question, and it was like your first week, and you were getting introduced to the company, and I was like, you want to ask a question to like the upper leadership? You like a question about like the Pareto, and they basically brushed you off. So like, it was hilarious. And I remember specifically like seeing you on Zoom or on Google Meets and like you sounding exactly like that, saying that exact line. And then them being like, I don't really know what that means, but we'll move on. We got to end the meeting.
Oh, hey, maybe they thought about it. I'm sure they did. They sat down, they wrote a whole essay. And
like, Lewis said this.
Come on. Dude, it's a good question. It's good, yeah.
It is a good question. One question I really like recently that I've been, two things. I had a whiteboard that I wasn't making use of, so I hung it up in my room and I have written on it, what would tomorrow Devin want you to do today? And that's been kicking my ass recently. I love it. And then second, another one I love is if you could only get one thing done today, if you what's the question exactly? Tim asked it a lot. Basically, if you could only get one thing done today and like that had to satisfy you, like what would that one thing be? And so
talking about page 197?
Shut the fuck up.
It's page 197, I'll tell you right now.
No way. This guy's got that Mike Ross memory.
Productivity.
What does it say?
Tips. Wow. So that's where the chapter begins. That quote is on page 200.
What's it say?
For each item, it's the same. It's probably the same thing I was thinking about. It's if this were the only thing I accomplished today, would I be satisfied with my day? Yeah. Will moving this forward make all the other to-dos unimportant or easier to knock off later? Put another way, what if done will make all of the rest easier or irrelevant? I've heard Tom Bilyeu refer to this exact idea as like the lead domino, and he references Tim Ferriss. He doesn't call it that in this, but like I think that's also a great way to look at it. But yeah,
Tim has a great blog article called "Finding the One Decision That Removes 100 Decisions," or "Why I'm Reading No New Books in This Year" or whatever. He talks about that exact idea.
Nice. And he just says, block out 2 to 3 hours to focus on one of them today. Let the rest of the urgent but less important stuff slide. It will still be there tomorrow. And then he says again, to be clear, block out 2 to 3 hours to focus on one of them for today. This is one block of time. Cobbling together 10 minutes here and there to add up to 120 minutes does not work. No phone calls or social media allowed. If you get distracted or start procrastinating, don't freak out and downward spiral. Just gently come back to your one to do. So that's it. Like, it's a great reminder too that like somebody as successful as him goes through similar struggles as everybody else, and it's just like, can I get this one thing that moves the freaking needle forward a day? And then you do that over like a year or whatever, and that's where it's like, oh, that makes sense why it's so much time. That'd be like 700 hours of doing whatever. That's a lot. You're probably gonna make some progress.
Well, Sahil has, I think, in a newsletter he released maybe today or yesterday, he's talking about this 30 for 30 thing, and it's not like the ESPN 30 for 30. It's like 30 minutes for 30 days, like 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And he's like, that's 900 minutes of work on whatever it is, which probably isn't that much in hours. What is that? Like, I don't know.
5?
No, like 15 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah. 15.
Well, exactly. Yeah. 30 divided by, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is, man. I always, yeah, it's all about the consistency. It's like the day in, day out stuff. So
yeah, that's why cool. This, like, on my windowsill, like the visual reminder of the pennies.
Yeah.
I just got to stack one over because it's, for me, it's very easy for me to forget like that. This, you know, I hear about it, I'll read about it, like all that stuff. But like for me, a visual reminder, like all those 100 pennies will be on the other side of the Lululemon. Yeah, what actions will compound into like whatever I'm doing. It's gonna go over there, like on the other side. It's just like, am I tipping the scale or am I like just keeping the scale the same?
Did you get a haircut?
That's what. Great segue. Oh, you saw, come on. It's funny. Jeez. So for my sister's wedding, people were like, "Did you get a haircut or whatever?" And the only thing I did was I trimmed my sideburns. That was it. That was the whole thing. That was it. Same thing today. Just trim my sideburns.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the telltale. Like you got a haircut is like. So you do that yourself? You just fucking take scissors and chop them?
Oh yeah, just like the beard trimmer. Well, that's all they do. They just go. Yeah. And then you go. I didn't even really do it in the mirror. Appreciate it. I am. We've talked about this, I'm sure. I've had most haircuts outside of probably like cornrows and dreadlocks.
Right.
But yeah, I'm bored. I'm on that like. I've grown it out. I've put in all this time. I don't want to cut it off, but also like, it would be nice to have like a buzz cut again.
Yeah. I've dabbled there, man. I've been there a lot. I'm in the same boat. I was like, I should just cut all. I just want to cut it, and then I never do.
Yeah,
I never do. It's all good.
But you've never had it really. No, you have. You've had it short.
Oh yeah, I buzz my head like I don't mean like 0, but like 2. I've done that.
Here's where you don't know what. Yeah,
4 times.
I haven't. I've like gone like 1. Like everywhere. I haven't gone and gotten like a really nice, I don't know, fade or whatever it would be from like that short, which I would like to get that.
Do it.
Cause even that little like, that makes it look so much better than just like,
just going, egghead. Yeah, well, the issue is with the short, the reason I like long hair is like, I'm 2 months in without a haircut and it's a bit messy, but like, okay, like it looks okay. Like you don't get you have that haircut, the fucking skin fade. You need to cut every week.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a mosquito down here.
Yep.
Mosquito. Oh. Fucking middle of winter. What the fuck is he doing here?
I was gonna say, what the hell's going on?
What the hell?
Dude? You got a pond in the basement? What are you doing?
Jeez, man. Yeah, I don't know. I got a plant up there. I wonder if it's like from the plant. I don't know how that works.
Perhaps.
Dude, I bought these like 3-pack of pocket notebooks.
All right.
So like whenever I could leave the house now, I like put it in my back pocket with like a pen. And I'm like, if I take notes now, it goes into here instead of my phone, which I don't know why. I've seen a few YouTube videos on it and I wanted to test it out, but feels very like getting back in tune with my the analog side of things. I got my typewriter here. I got the pocket notebooks.
There you go. I think
they're contact me on letterhead soon.
On letterhead? I don't even know what that means.
It's just like you have to write letters to me.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to do that. No, I did. So like my buddy's in medical school and I always liked it. like writing. I think there is. I think it's superior in some way to typing on your phone, um, uh, typing on a computer, whatever it may be. And then I heard it from Huberman on the goal setting, like, and he said like write things in pen. Like there is, I don't know how much science there is to back it up, but like there for sure, I think it's superior. It depends on like what you're doing, but I think if you can write it down.
There's practicalities to the digital space, but like
for sure,
we've been doing this for thousands of years. We've been doing this with a
rock.
Fucking a sharp thing jabbing in a fucking rock, dude. Like it's baked into us. So yeah, I agree with that totally.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just write down a fact that I'm gonna come back to that because it blew my mind. But yeah, man, there's something for sure about physically writing stuff down. I think that's why in the Sam Parr Copy That course, he's like, write this down by hand. It's like, don't copy it on a computer or anything. He's like, write it down by hand. Something to it. You've done that for a while. Yeah. You're big into that.
Well, that's where I'm always fascinated when people say like, well, with writing, like talking about right now, like saying, I write a lot. And I'm like, do you write or like do you type? And then same thing with reading. They're like, I read, and are you listening to audiobooks or are you actually reading the book? I think more so the writing is probably way different than reading versus listening. But yeah, something about writing it out.
It's good stuff. Yeah, well, there's another element to writing that I really like, the physical writing. Is the, like, I don't want to say like sentimental value, but I think that's what it is. Like, I really enjoy looking back. I really enjoy looking back and seeing my old writing, just like old stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, I flipped through, I'm writing a script right now, and a part of the script needed me to dig back through an old journal, I happened to dig back through an old journal a few weeks ago, and it inspired this part of the script. And it's a piece of writing from November 22nd, 2022. And basically, it's just funny, man. I don't know. It gives you perspective. It's just like, so I'll give you what the writing is. Sorry. I was like talking about how I was all stressed because I posted a YouTube short that got a lot of views, and now my audience is expecting, better work for me. And I went back and checked how many subscribers I had. At the time, I had 77 subscribers. And I'm just like, dude. Anyway, it's just funny. So that's just fun. It's just a funny moment to like look. That's why I tie it back to the writing thing. Like, it's just nice to like look back and be like, what a moment. It's just like, I would, if I have so many notes on my computer through my Apple Notes. I never look back on that.
Yeah, you never.
Oh, that's endearing. It's like, no, it's gone. It's forever in the digital realm. But yeah.
Right. No, that's interesting. It's similar in a way to like the story worthy thing, like where you're just going back and you're looking at stuff. I heard,
which is funny because and to bring up, I'm sorry, it's not to cut you off, but to bring up the practicality of the digital sense, he documents all of his stories, and so do I digitally, because of its longevity. Like, he wants these to be around forever, and like an Excel sheet's isn't. I mean, unless you lose it, like, it isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's indexable in the sense that like you can search it.
Yeah, that's where like, everything digital is absolutely superior.
Yeah.
To, just finding things.
Yeah.
And like the sea of like pages and notes that can happen. At least to me, it's like, that's good. I try to like have some sort of like, I don't want to say photographic memory, but like, where did I write that down? Like, try to think of like, like, where was I writing it at? Like, try to do it some way, but that's where it is better. But I was going to say about Tony Robbins, man. I heard, it's tough. He calls it flooding, but like going through, I heard on My First Million, they're talking about like with couples, like going and looking back through your photos, and it'll bring up all sorts of memories, but like you could do it, I would imagine, with like, obviously by yourself or just like for creating any sort of content, just going back through like old things, old content, I guess would be the overarching thing.
My old videos, or you mean just like journals? Content is in journals and photos.
Yeah, and content. I mean, photos, anything you write down, story thing, like more of documenting and then like going back through that documentation.
I think it comes back to, I think it's like the main thing is like just document more.
Yeah. Document the story.
Document the story. Just write down what you're thinking, honestly. I think for me, I love just writing down the morning thoughts. Just like, what am I thinking? Like, what's on the top of my mind that day? There's such minuscule things, but like, that's your life. Minuscule
and even if you
one after another.
Yeah. Even if you, I guess I'm thinking of Tim Ferriss, but like you don't quote use them, like you're getting them out. Like it's almost like you're, like it can be therapeutic and useful regardless of whether or not you do look back at them. But ideally, best of both worlds is like you do both, but it's useful regardless.
Yeah. It's also making me think we should do it. We should potentially do an entire podcast episode, potentially shorter or timed, on just journaling. Seems like we both kind of have our ways of going about it. That could be just physically writing and documenting stuff.
Yeah, I'd be done.
So I circled this, and this is not important by any means, but it blew my mind. Are you familiar with what a stegosaurus is?
No.
It's a dinosaur.
Man? What are we doing?
Yeah. Do you know this? So if anyone like listening, like it's like that dinosaur, like it's very popular. It's like kind of like round. It's like kind of short and stubby, and it's got the spikes on the back. Like look up Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus. Yeah, I see it right here.
Stego and then Saurus. Stegosaurus. Okay, Stegosaurus.
Yep.
Everyone knows the Stegosaurus now, and then everyone is familiar with the T-Rex, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Rex Lewis, you know what the T-Rex is? Okay, cool.
You know the T-Rex.
If you looked at a timeline of everything that has ever existed on the Earth, we are more closely living to the time that the T-Rex was alive than the T-Rex lived to the Stegosaurus. Is that not insane? And I want to give you the numbers. Sorry. So, did you know this?
No, the only reason that would kind of make sense is there's a new Netflix show out on like something like the Earth or whatever. I forget what it's called. It's newer. And they just went over like roughly like, the dinosaur. Like I just got another reminder that dinosaurs were here. Like not like it doesn't even make any sense. It's too big of a number to like, it's like the Earth is this big and you could fit this many Earths in the suns. It's like, okay, I don't like, it doesn't make any like practical sense. Like hundreds of millions of years. That doesn't, have you ever seen that one? It's like one of the best clips I've seen on comedy. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. You ever seen that? He's like, we're floating in some, I forget who it is. I'll have to find it. He's like, we're floating in dust. I'll send it to you. I forget who it is. But go on. What?
No, sorry. Yeah, that just blew my mind because the Stegosaurus was around 155 million years ago. First off, 155 million years ago, and the T-Rex is around 66 million years ago. So, like, if you do the math, that's 2 million. That's the difference between. I think the difference between that and us is 2 million years. So we're 2 million years closer. Yeah. So. Do you see what I'm saying? Like from zero is us now, and then 66 million years ago, and then 156, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, it's way. Oh no, it's close. 90? Whatever. Do the math.
Yeah, 90 to 60 or whatever. Yeah, it's just 30 million.
Just 30 million years. Like what?
Yeah.
Like
it's really like it doesn't make any sense.
And then you think about our the Gregorian calendar is 2024 years, and like that's so long ago. 2,000 years. The dinosaurs took a shit, and then fucking 2,000 years went by. Like, dude, huge. The cosmic timescale is fucking unbelievable. Blows my mind every time I think about it.
Yeah, because if they could think too, that would be like the same thing. It would be like 2,000 is long relative to our life. Yeah. And I don't know how long dinosaurs lived. That's actually an interesting question. Like,
I want to say they lived a long, like.
How long does a Stegosaurus be living? 30 years?
No. I'm going to say Stegosaurus like hundreds of. Oh no, not how long. How long? I googled how long is a Stegosaurus. Did Stegosaurus live?
Lifespan.
There you go. Thank you.
26 years. Come on,
dude. That's crazy. I thought they lived longer than that. I'm
sure they're.
We're ancient Stegosauruses, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure too. Like, yeah, they just get eaten too, or I don't know how.
That's true. Life was a bit tougher.
How it all works, but yeah, a little bit. But still, yeah, 150 million years ago. It doesn't make any sense.
Sure. No, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, man.
Oh, not really. Just talking on Riverside. That's all it is. In Canada, I'm down here, and this all makes sense.
This all makes sense, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, and anything the else? Other thing. Sorry, I'm bringing this back. You mentioned, is there anything new in the new year I'm doing? I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm completely detaching from subscriber goals. I've completely detached from subscriber goals. I'm done. I don't even have them written down. I'm only focusing on video goals. So my minimum is 52 this year. That's my bare minimum. I posted 36 last year, and minimum 52. I realistically, I'd love like 60 or like 75. Like those, that'd be like great. 75 would actually be sick. That'd be hard, so but 52 is the minimum.
Yeah.
Like 1.5 a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many would that be a month? Because that doesn't even, that's hard to.
75, times divided by, let's do 10 first. That's 7 videos. 10. No, it doesn't work like, I don't know. Yeah, we could how about I just do a calculator?
Yeah.
75 work. Divided by 12 is 6.25.
So you have to put out at least 7 a month to do that. Because you can't do 6.
Well, yeah, 6 1 month, 7 1 month. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of videos, truthfully, but we'll see.
It's doable.
Yeah, man. Anyways.
You'd only count, like, making a clip of a video wouldn't be a new video.
Right. That's some Fugazi shit.
Come on.
Fugazi. No, it would be a full video, no shorts, nothing. I also don't do shorts anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, those are tough.
So I'm done from the subscriber goal.
All right, cool.
Although I'm sure it'll be.
You're creeping on 1,000.
But we are, dude.
I just looked it up.
Close. So I think we're 15 away. We're 14 away.
Well,
dude, I'm not gonna lie. When that hits, I'm gonna be really happy about that. But
yeah, dude, you'll get the 1K. I'll say 1,000.
I've wanted.
Does it show up like that?
Yeah, it does. Not for me on my end, but for the viewers.
Maybe that 1K.
Dude, I've wanted that for literally like over a year, man. That's all I've thought about. So crazy.
What was man. Will you say what was the original like a year ago? Did you set like a goal this time last year for how many subscribers you wanted?
1,000.
Was it 1,000?
It was so close. It was well, I had like, what do you mean? Like, are you saying that's lower or higher than you thought? Because I had some stretch goals, but they were insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, my stretch goals were, so it was the intermediate goals were, I was at like 113 or something. And so it was 250, 500, 750, 1,000, and then 2,500, 5,000, 7,500, 10,000. And 10,000 I can't imagine anything bigger than this.
Yeah, and for year one.
That was spot on for year one.
Yeah. It's better that way though. I think. For sure.
Yeah.
Makes the story better.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And we're documenting the story. I don't think about it like that too. But
that's true.
You know? Yeah. You got like 100,000, you're looking back and you're like, dude, back when I had 900.
Or this too. Like it'd be dope to look back and be like, episode 4. Like, what were we doing? No, that was the reason why that. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I will say it is so interesting to me. I got another reminder today hearing it. Podcasts. I don't know if everyone would agree. I think it's like the most unique, I guess, business or like type of media to grow. Like I don't know if there's like I at least heard it on MFM, and I would agree. Like, there's not like a specific playbook to make it grow. It's way more like linear in fashion than it is like growth hacks or like, I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's just if you had insane guests,
that might be like
the only X factor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like what were you gonna say? Rogan on. I was gonna say I was going to say that's why, looking back at that journal entry I mentioned, I was so stressed about whatever, and I was like, yeah, but you have 77 subscribers, and I remember being like, people said it was so good. I went back and I got 3 comments, and I was just like, that's a year ago.
Yeah.
Like that's a year ago, and it's just kind of, you realize you have a new baseline for views and everything and life every time. Anyway, so this is back to the documenting thing, but it's cool to document all this because you just look back at some point and be like, wow, I remember that day or that feeling or whatever. It's cool. I don't know. I have friends who are like, I'm so jealous. I'm like, start. Like,
nah. Yeah, that's how, you gotta, fundamentally in any pursuit you have to start. I know it's so corny, but it's like, you have to. I think physics would agree. I don't know. I think I don't know. Inertia, it sounds close to physics. Like you have to get to step 1 or kind of to get to step 10.
I think it's literally inertia. Like the object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest.
Yeah, it is that. So you just gotta get the ball rolling. And at the beginning, it's like you have to put in. Yeah, if you had some giant boulder that was in front of you, and you're like, you have to start, make it move. That would take more energy, possibly, to start it than to keep it moving.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it would, I think.
Well, it would depend on if you're going
potential energy.
But wouldn't it depend on if you're going? Yeah.
Assuming you're on flat ground.
Yeah. Downhill. Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, I like downhill. Yeah, man.
That's good.
So that's that. That's my whole thoughts on the new year and documenting and all that. All that good stuff. I don't know, did you have a second point you wanted to mention or something else?
Maybe one last thing that I just thought of. I heard it on MFM maybe yesterday. It was on, I think, the most recent episode, and it was some guy on Twitter that Sean referred to, and it might have been like a thread, and Sean's like, I just read the first sentence, and he's like, it's so good that anything else you write, it's like, it's not gonna, like, it's gonna make me like you less, so I'm just gonna read this one sentence and just, like, when you listen to it, it'll all make sense. And the sentence was, paraphrase, but like, I believe that 1 year of obsession can change your life. And like that perfect. I just love that. It was like, I've heard it from like Tom Bilyeu in a different way. Like, allow yourself to get obsessed with your goals. I don't know, for whatever reason, I was like, I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, dude, I think it's true. And not in the sense that like you're going to be rich and famous after the year. Like you're going to be a fundamentally different person at the end of that year.
Yeah. Allowing yourself to get obsessed with, I guess, the pursuit of improvement. Yeah, like in whatever direction you go. It doesn't have to be like anything specific, but I think a lot of times that word can be like, like, what does that mean? Obsessed? Is that like in a bad or like good way? I think it could be in a good way. In the limit, like the best people at anything, I think, are obsessed, at least to some degree. So
100%.
You can do it.
I love that. What do you want to be obsessed with over the next year? Do you have an obsession that you're trying to
athletic pursuits are the first one, like I definitely have other ones that I need to be more defined on, but athletic pursuits are for sure one. Business and sales and all that stuff for sure, absolutely in that. I have to get more defined on that, but like athletic pursuits are like probably the thing that I have most defined on. And even like I'm gonna remember your point about like bone density and stuff, and it's just a great reminder that like this is the time to like hit go.
Yeah.
Like 26, I'm gonna be turning 27. It's like, let's see where I thought about it on my run today. It's like imagine you're 80 and like you had this Ferrari in your garage. It's like, have you ever seen Tokyo Drift? Actually,
so
love Tokyo Drift. That specific movie, I love it. So you remember like the end of the movie, like they fixed up like the old Mustang.
Yeah.
Right. So even like that might be the best analogy that I've thought of. Like imagine just never bringing that potential out. And you're just like, what could that Mustang could have gone fast, right? Or any
Yeah.
car,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? If I would have like built it up, I would have just like put it in the garage and put in the work. What could this thing have been,
Yeah.
right? So that's how I'm kind of looking at like my athletic pursuits and getting better and running, and then later throughout the year with like building muscle.
Yeah.
Where can this thing go?
I love it.
We'll find
Yeah,
out.
you don't know. You don't know until you try. Jordan, it's in 12 rules, I think, or it's in 12 more rules. I think it's in 12 more rules by Jordan Peterson, but it's the whole work as hard as you possibly can at one thing for a year. That's it.
Yeah.
Not even see what
Like,
happens, just do it.
yeah, like you could be way more than wherever you're at.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
in
much.
anything.
It's a nice thought. It's a nice thought. I think about myself in a few years, and I'm just excited for whatever that is, which is a good feeling to have. But you also, like, I sometimes feel like I'm like too much looking forward to that and not thinking about this enough. But
drive the car.
Yeah, drive the car, man. That's
drive
so good.
The car. Yeah. I thought I did think one more thing. Oh, this has been really useful just in the past like maybe 48 hours. It was a clip on Hormozy talking about like confidence. He has some other channel, Mosey Media, like building confidence, whatever. He talks about like evidence. If you don't have confidence, build evidence, all that. And I thought back to, including right now, a time where I had gone, I'll call it like 0 to 1. And that was it was in college, freshman year, dude. I was like clutter, mess, like everywhere, like you can name it, right? And like not organized freshman year, and then sophomore year, and then like throughout, and even still like right now, I would say for the most part, still working on it. But I got a job at a little restaurant, and I thought that job was going to be a means to an end just to make some money or whatever. And that I learned so much out of that, just that little sandwich job. Learned so many skills that have transcended. And what I'm getting at is like I used to be like wildly unorganized, messy, and all that. And then by the end, I had like to run this whole restaurant by myself. And organization. And I'll never forget like the first shift I had. I came in the next morning and my manager was like, what the hell? Like she pointed out like a couple things. It was like one of my first shifts. Like the grill wasn't clean and like this wasn't. And I thought it was like my frame of like clean was not what she thought it was. But then over time, I just gained the skills and like I guess you could say like I became a different person. And it was a good example of like thinking back on when was I ever like one way, and then like I completely changed and like became a completely different way. Or like I improved a skill. And I can use that as like a reference point to be like, okay, I'm not good at this thing right now. And it might seem unimaginable to get good at it. But if I put in the time, it's probably reasonable that I will, if I don't become great, I'll at least become like way better than like where I'm at right now. Because I actually have like that like that's just one reference point. It's probably useful to like think of more, but that including right now is like really useful to me.
Yeah. It's just a skill you need to learn.
Yeah, and like I can do it. Like you can go like 0 to 1, like you can improve like wildly, like dramatically. Like if you would ask me freshman year, like, hey, are you gonna? I've been like, there'd have been so many differences. I would have like not cared about it, like said like just so many differences.
Yeah. Dude, I love that story. Because I don't know, these small things, like there's that saying, like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot to that. And there's a lot to be learned from jobs and stuff. And it made me think of, I think I told you I finished the second season of The Bear, finally watched the second season. And there's one episode, I think it's 7. It's episode 7 of season 2 called Forks. I don't know if we talked about this, but like that reminded me of this episode, the year story, because the whole episode essentially is just about, is it Ricky? What's his
cousin? I don't know what his name is. I forget his name.
Kill me. Sorry.
this is really interesting you bring this up because
yeah. And so I just need to look it up. His name's not Ricky. It's Rich. Yeah, Ricky. Yeah, Richard. Yeah, he goes into this restaurant that I wear suits now. He goes into this restaurant that Carmi used to work at, the main character, and like they have him. It was like a Michelin, so it's the best restaurant in the world, and they have him cleaning forks. And he fucking hates it at first, and his life's going to shit.
This is stupid.
And like just throughout the episode, yeah, like he just finds his purpose in that little fucking thing, like that little, like you are a part of this team, and like this is an important thing, and like don't belittle this, and you're not above this. And like
every day
you're gonna find purpose through this thing. Dude, I cried watching that episode. It was so
really
that idea to me, Jordan Peterson. I felt like Jordan Peterson when I watched it because he always cries about like meaning and stuff. But dude, there's a lot there. Like
yeah.
You can like there's a lot like that episode was just meaningful to me because it's like that guy found his purpose. Like you can clearly see a new trajectory for him. It was a 0 to 1 moment, and it was such a small thing. It was cleaning forks, like. Anyway, so that story just makes me think about it. It's like you walk into your restaurant, you're a mess. And I mean, you're first year university, you're kind of meant to be. But like this very like, oh, it's just a little sandwich shop, just a little job. It's like way more than that. Like it's
way more
than that, you know? Not to fucking intellectualize or philosophize on everything, but like, yeah, there's a lot to that. I really do think that shapes you and stuff.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I was literally thinking about it, cleaning up the kitchen last night, and I never did, but I think I will write a letter to my GM because like the 0 to 1's like the amount of like I guess like who I became at that job, and love the team that I was with. My general managers taught me a bunch of skills, not only like how to work but like I guess live. I learned I haven't thought about it recently, but I don't know if you remember this in Atomic Habits. It's called pointing and aiming. Do you remember this? Like in Japanese culture and on the train, they'll be like doors open and they're like point and aim. So I learned how to do this through just trial and error at the sandwich shop because at the end of the night when I would clean up stuff, I would get it, sometimes I would do everything, do my whole checklist or whatnot, and I would walk home and I'd be like, I would second guess myself. Like, did I do this thing? Are you sure you did? Like, and I would second guess myself. So by the end of it, the only thing that worked for me I would be like, grill off, doors locked, and I would point and I'd do the same thing. Like just simple things like that. Why is Siri on right now? Can you hear me?
Did you freeze?
Hello?
Yeah. You good?
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, we're good now.
All right.
I think, early in the conversation, I'm like, what is that sound?
Yeah.
So it's Siri, for whatever reason, on my new app, my AirPods, is a dude. He's like,
yo.
He's like, can I help you? And I was like, what is that noise?
Oh.
I don't know why it kept popping up, but I think we're good now. I don't know where we cut out on that, but pointing and aiming, learn that skill. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff like that by the end that I still use today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, anyways, I think those early jobs you have, I think it's really important to work those kind of shitty, I talk about them being shitty jobs. I think there's a lot of value in shitty jobs, especially when you're young. I worked at like a hardware store after school. I worked at like the grounds crew at a golf course. Just like a bunch of like, shitty retail, shitty labor job. Like you learn what you don't want to do, but I don't know. You also just learn important stuff in general outside of not what you want to do, but just talking to people, answering the phone, or like managing your time, like just small stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where like, I don't know if there really is any like, I mean, there definitely is jobs that you don't want to do, but like to your point about like do anything like you do everything or whatever. Yeah. You can learn a lot in like any skill, even if it's like something like really menial, like doing like dishwashing at a restaurant. You're like, this is pointless, and you're like, I probably didn't articulate it this way to my team when I was running like the shift lead or whatever, but like your job, if you do it well, we all get to go home, like we're part of, like you're part of the system, right? And if you do it insufficiently, like you don't do it like the way we want it to be done, then it slows it all down. And like the way it kind of worked too with us, the way we had it worked out was like nobody left early. It was like everybody gets the job done. And then it's kind of like not the weakest link kind of thing, but like you didn't get to go home early. Like you would help out with somebody else like doing their job if you got done early. And then it was like 40 people close, everybody's got their job done, and then we all go home pretty much. Shift lead would usually stay the latest to like close everything out, but everybody else would like work until everyone else was done.
Nice, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good good just camaraderie, and I guess just not being shitty. It's just good when, especially if there's jobs that are like below other jobs, it's nice to just like have that even playing field and make everyone not feel like anyone's above anyone else. There's no task beneath you. I really appreciate that from managers I've had. I really appreciate when they feel like nothing is below them in terms of like the work that they'll do. It's a really admirable thing.
Yeah,
people do, I find.
Yeah, that makes me think even in I think it was in Extreme Ownership. Jocko Willink was talking about, I think like maybe it was earlier in his career, a general or whoever, not general, one of his commanders or whatever, higher officers was like sweeping or doing something that like quote menial, like you would think is menial, like sweeping the wherever they sleep or whatever, right? Like taking out the trash, or it was something like that. Or it was like no job is, you shouldn't look at any job like, oh, this is stupid. Like every job has its purpose and everybody can do it too, to your point.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are good reminders.
Yeah, man. That's a good book. I got to give it a reread.
Extreme Ownership. Yeah.
Sure. Extreme Ownership. Yeah. Good. That's actually in Discipline Equals Freedom.
Good. Oh, is it?
Good. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think it's in Tools of Titans. I haven't read it, but it's on
of course.
It's on the index where it's like the non-people parts. Like, yeah. And it was just titled "Good." It's gotta be Jocko.
100%. He was the first guy to put Jocko on the map. Tim.
Was he? That makes sense.
The title was "The Scariest Human I've Ever Met" or something like that. Tim Ferriss, Jocko Willink, the scariest. No, it's not. Oh, I guess it is. It's the scariest Navy SEAL I've ever met. I thought it was human being. Episode 107. Early
days.
Early days.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is formidable. He's something.
Yeah, that guy's insane. Good old Jocko. All right, man. I'm going to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Love
it. Quick, this is 100 minutes.
Oh, 100 minutes.
Almost.
There you go.
Almost. No,
that's 90. The Hermosi rule of 100. We can apply it to podcasting.
Yeah. We can. 94 minutes.
94 minutes. Love it. Yeah, we covered some marathon prep, covered some goal setting, processes the goal. Oh, man, I can't even remember what else we covered. Purpose.
Dinosaurs,
copywriting, copy work, I should say, not writing. I want to correct myself earlier. I died in the hill.
Oh, well, yeah. What is? I'm going to forget what it is now.
It is copy work. Copywriting is advertising.
Anyways, they're pretty. Yeah. We didn't even talk. Oh God, until next week. That'll make more sense. We didn't even talk about the Browns, dude. Come on.
Cleveland?
Come on.
I don't know. I think the Vikings are out. I didn't even check. Yeah. I'll take a look.
Calling it now.
What, champs?
Not necessarily. I mean, that'd be nice. Just the fact that, like, if it actually happened, I truly think it would be the greatest Super Bowl in sports history or NFL history.
Wow.
I don't think that many would disagree. No, there'd definitely be some, but
wow.
Yeah, it's like that crazy of a. I know I'm like, this is my water, so like, I'm like, yeah, doesn't everyone realize this?
I have no clue. I just looked at the record. They're doing well, but I haven't seen a single game of them. So
pretty much everyone's got hurt.
Okay.
Not everybody, but like from the beginning of the season, starting quarterback, starting running back, both of our tackles are back. Like it's like 25. It's close to like 25% of our salary cap.
Wow.
Which isn't always the best way to look at it because like one guy can get hurt, and if you pay him like a ton of money, it can skew it. But even by the numbers, it's like, I don't know. It's like it might be a little less than half of the starting people on offense and defense, but that's a lot in the NFL. It might be like 40% of the starters at the beginning of the season. They're out.
Wow.
They're out.
Well, they're on a 4-game win streak, so
we're still cruising.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be sick.
And it's our.
Yeah. What?
It's our. I was just gonna say Cleveland's like. You're also not aware of this to the full extent, but like we're just known for not being good.
The Browns specifically, or the city?
The Browns.
Okay, because I was gonna say you guys got the Cavs and the Indians.
Yeah, up until that, I think you could have said something similar for the Cavs, but yeah, the championship definitely changed things for the Cavs. The Browns still kind of the same. This is the first season in, I don't know. It's like the second time we've gone to the playoffs in 20 years. Like second time we've won more than 10 games in like 30 years. Like it's we don't. You want to like laugh? Just go look up like Browns record sometime over the past 30 years, and you're like, oh.
Okay, you get it.
Oh.
All right. Well, hey, listen. I hope it goes well. You guys, it looks like you clinched the wild card spot, so it should be a cool game.
Yeah,
it'll be exciting.
Yeah,
good old wild card. I'm guessing they're resting up all their non-injured backup players. Week 17.
Yeah. So we don't.
And
week 18.
All the backups will get going for or week 18. Sorry. Yeah.
Game 17. So the playout it'll be backups, and this game I guess it still matters, but the playoffs start next week.
Goddamn.
Yeah. Which is gonna be nuts, dude.
Yeah. I'm definitely tuning in for playoffs. I don't watch much regular season unless Minnesota's doing well, but they ain't. So.
They ain't. There's always next year.
Always next year, man. Always next year.
There you go.
Dude, yeah, we'll have to see. Next week we'll come back and you'll see. I guess playoffs will be the week after next week, but.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Good deal.
Cool.
Getting close to 99 minutes. Boom.
99 minutes.
Till next week.
That's what it's all about. Episode 4. Lewis.
Episode 4. We're in. Complete.
Love it, dude. All right.
Till next week.
Till next week, people.
Peace.
Peace.